Athletic Performance Contextualization. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. This is my YouTube channel, Tanis Leonhardi. I'm filming this in the afternoon on Sunday, 21 January 2024. And I'm going to talk about Contextualize, a race from 1954. So this is my take on the John Landy 1 mile run, 3 minutes 57.9 seconds, 21 June 1954. I'm going to talk through his race at an international competition here, meaning in Turku, Finland, and he achieved a time of 3 minutes and 57.9 seconds in the final on Monday, 21 June 1954. I think there was only one race, but then that one race is the final. With his time, he achieved a personal best time, a world record, in the first 1 mile run time by a human that was faster than 3 minutes and 59 seconds. I provided my perspective on his performance and contextualize it in terms of me setting my target times in the 1 mile run 2006 to present. So this is a race where the 4-minute barrier had previously, in May, been, if I'm recalling correctly, April, May, been broken somewhere between 1 and 2 months before this. Yes, it was May, right? It was like 6th May. So that would be 30 plus 15 or 16, 45, 46 days later. Okay, point being, approximately 1 to 2 months later, John Landy broke the 3 minute 59 second barrier and the 3 minute 58 second barrier, just kind of going, and it was a personal best time, and his previous personal best was over 4 minutes in the 1 mile run, and he had a cluster of times that was, what, 4:06, so 4 minutes and 6 seconds and faster. And then he did this, and reading about it, it was one of those races where it kind of all came together and it felt fast, and he did not get fatigued or overexert himself. It was a pristine run in that sense. To be a runner that is both fast and feels fast is like the pinnacle. A good run has been run, kind of thing, and a good mile. And so he went about this race in terms of training and competing in Scandinavia and Finland specifically, in part because there were a bunch of, with the world record holder finish in the 1952 Summer Olympic Games were held in Finland, and there were good Swedes. It was a region of the world good at the 1 mile run in his time. And they had really great tracks. He was Australian, and so he kind of didn't have competition in his country, so he'd heard about these tracks that were really great to train and run, and the Finland people were like, come train here, we want you. And so he went and he trained there, and so it was kind of a symbiotic relationship in that sense of giving back to the community and kind of being like, it's not just he competed at the Olympic Games and only would come back from our Olympic Games, and he's like, no, I'm gonna come there, train, learn from you guys, race you guys, kind of give it back to you guys in that sense, which I thought was very respectful. And so I think so this is a bit about the race and the time, and trying to provide a perspective on how he went about it, and in contextualizing it in terms of my target times I set for the 1 mile run. I say setting, so me setting my target times, but also setting and context matters a lot. And I actually do, especially for barriers, and for when I broke the 5-minute barrier in the 1 mile run, I am a she, her, hers, myself as coach since January 2006. I've done breaking the 5-minute barrier was actually similar to how he went about, not exactly the same, but similar to how he went about breaking the 4-minute barrier for himself. And he is the an appropriate person. Maybe not the, but an appropriate person, since I was not the first woman to break the 5-minute barrier. Me comparing myself to like the first person to break the 4-minute barrier might not be the appropriate fit, right? And he was not the first. So in that sense of first or not first, John Landy is the first person to break that barrier. Gets disqualified in the sense of breaking the 5-minute barrier. For me, I realized it's really about a personal barrier. Once that barrier has been broken, it becomes all about kind of, there will be no press, right? In terms of like, this is the first time this has happened, because it's not. And so in reading about him, he was very much focused on kind of improvement and finding his rhythm as a runner and really running well and respecting the sport in that way, which is what I did. And so it was interesting reading about this race now in 2024, before filming this video, and having achieved something similar back in 2012 when I broke the 5-minute barrier for myself in the 1 mile run. It is an interesting thing to kind of, when I did that, it felt fast and was fast. And it turns out I went about it in a similar sense to he did, in terms of having like a cluster of times that built the confidence of yes, instead of like, you know, just going into a time or trying to break a barrier and kind of just dropping time consistently. There's a pile up, so to speak, which some people view as bad, but I like being a consistent performer. So having a cluster of times is actually really good in the sense of it builds confidence of like, it might be 8 seconds I need to drop, but like, I know once I've dropped time, I can cluster my times, right? I'm a solid, right? It's not a fluke that I swam this fast or ran this fast or speed skated this fast kind of thing. It's a confidence builder kind of thing. So yeah, that would be kind of contextualizing it is it's a run that resonated with me with my own personal barrier of first versus not first, when I was not first, in setting my times of, he kind of wavered a bit on whether he could break the 4-minute barrier, but the kind of shift in his confidence came after he had those cluster of times. And I myself have been through that with the 5-minute barrier. So it's a very cool race because I resonated with it, and it was a historic run. He's the second man under 4 minutes, or second human, I should say, under the 4-minute mark in the 1 mile run, and he dropped. It was like a 1.5 seconds faster than the first person under 4 minutes, who was male. So it's kind of a cool thing of, and I like the guy. It's just a cool thing. Maybe that's kind of it. Running can be really cool, and I still get adrenaline from achieving that time. And I think it's a cool thing about running it fast and it feeling fast is it can like be like, was the stopwatch right? Was the clock right? And I've found if a time is truly that time, if the adrenaline is still there over a decade later, yeah, you achieved the time. Like, I achieved the time, right? So there's a bodily reinforcement of, even if I had a hard time accepting it mentally, the body has come through and being like, yeah, and it felt good, but it felt fast, more specifically. It felt like a home sport. Found a home in a run, you know, and a sport in a run, which is really kind of cool. So that is my take on the John Landy 1 mile run, 3 minutes 57.9 seconds on it was a Monday, 21 June 1954. A Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday, a Monday. Okay. and a Tuesday, a Monday, per Apple calendar. I don't have like a wall calendar. And I think at the time they rounded it up to 3 minutes and 58 seconds, but the time was 3:57.9. So there we go. Happy day and time of viewing to you whenever you're viewing this, and happy place of viewing wherever you're viewing this from.